Hello, and welcome. Whether you're settling into bed beneath a warm blanket or taking a quiet moment to relax during the day, this gentle journey invites you to drift back into a distant, mysterious past. Make yourself comfortable. Feel the breath slow, the mind soften, and the body begin to unwind. Together, we'll step into a world often wrapped in legend and shadow, a hidden mountain settlement where discipline, secrecy, and skill shaped daily life. This is You Wouldn't Last a Day in a Japanese Ninja Village, a calm and peaceful exploration of the world behind the myths. Take a slow, deep breath. As you exhale, imagine the soft rustle of bamboo swaying in the cool evening breeze. Picture the golden glow of lantern light spilling through wooden lattice windows, casting long, quiet shadows across winding forest paths. In this tranquil version of history, we set aside the dramatic tales of combat and instead drift through the rhythms of training, tradition, and survival that defined these secluded communities. We move with gentle curiosity, not haste listening, observing and appreciating the dedication woven into every moment of their lives. Now imagine yourself standing at the edge of a remote mountain village. Mist drifts between the tall pines like a slow-moving veil. The air is crisp, carrying the faint scent of cedar and earth. Somewhere nearby, you hear the soft footfalls of someone practicing balance on wooden beams, the almost imperceptible whisper of cloth brushing against the night air. You might be lying in bed now, safe and still, but a part of you can almost feel the coolness of the forest floor beneath your feet and the quiet pulse of ancient tradition surrounding you. Let your worries fade, dropping away like leaves carried downstream. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore what life was truly like in a ninja village. Not the fantasy of invisibility or magic, but the physical demands, strict routines, disciplined training, and deep connection to nature. We'll wander through hidden training grounds, listen to the hushed conversations shared over bowls of warm rice, and observe how families lived simple yet demanding lives, far from the crowded cities. We'll feel the weight of responsibility, the importance of silence, and the constant awareness required to thrive in such a world. Through it all, we move slowly, letting each scene settle like morning dew on moss-covered stones. Now that you're relaxed and ready, let's begin this peaceful journey into the secretive heart of Japan's mountainous past. Our first chapter starts with the land itself, the forests, streams, and wooden homes that form the backdrop of daily ninja life. Settle in, breathe deeply, and allow the quiet beauty of this hidden world to carry you gently onward. And if you enjoy this soothing exploration of history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can join many more journeys just like this. Nightfall in the hidden village. The air is still and cool as night blankets the secluded mountain village. In a small wooden house with paper-thin walls, a lone oil lamp flickers. A young trainee sits cross-legged on a straw mat, calming his breath. He is only 7 years old, but his day began before dawn and has been filled with trials that would exhaust grown men. This is a ninja village in feudal Japan, a place shrouded in secrecy and shadow. By day, it looks like any other rustic farming hamlet. By night, it transforms into a training ground for covert warriors. In this calm, hushed narrative, we will follow a notional day in the life of a ninja in training. Through his eyes, we'll explore the realities of ninja life, the grueling childhood training, the use of poisons and psychological tricks, the ironclad rules of secrecy, where leaking information could mean death, the real weapons and tools that ninjas used, so different from the flashy movie myths. and how these clandestine clans survived for generations by remaining undetected. Let us journey gently into this secret world, a journey that will be fascinating but told in a soothing, almost whispering tone, as if sharing a bedtime story from long ago. Make yourself comfortable as we step into the past. Imagine the soft chirping of crickets in the pine woods outside and the distant hoot of an owl echoing off the hills. The villagers have doused their hearth fires to avoid drawing attention, so only faint plumes of smoke blend with the evening mist. In this tranquility, our young ninja apprentice reflects on the day's lessons. You, the listener, are invited to imagine yourself in his place. But be warned, you wouldn't last a day in a Japanese ninja village. The life of a ninja is as arduous as it is secretive. Still, in the quiet of this night, let us gently uncover the mysteries of the ninja's world. Dawn of discipline, training from childhood. Long before the sun peaks over the cedar-covered hills, the ninja village stirs to life. Training starts at first light, and for the children born into ninja families, this routine begins as soon as they can walk. If a child is born into a ninja clan, ninjutsu training is not a choice. It's the family trade, passed down from father to son through generations. In our hidden village, the children rise quietly from their futon bedding without complaint. They know that whining or hesitation might earn them a stern lesson in endurance. Under the guidance of elders, they begin their morning drills in silence. In the grey pre-dawn, you might see a line of small, shadowy figures running barefoot along a forest trail. They run fast and light, covering remarkable distances with ease. Ninja training places enormous emphasis on building stamina and speed. It's said that an adept ninja could travel 350 miles from Edo, modern Tokyo, to Osaka in just 3 days. Whether or not every ninja achieved such feats, children here certainly try. They practice leaning their body forward at sharp angles as they run, a method that forces them to move rapidly or lose balance. This peculiar exercise, passed down through generations, gradually increases their pace and endurance. By age 10, a ninja trainee might hike mountains and sprint through valleys all day without tiring, while an ordinary adult would be gasping far behind. A faint mist clings to the ground, and the grass is wet with dew that soaks their small bare feet, but they pay it no mind in their focused run. The only sounds are their breathing and the occasional hoot of an early morning owl returning to its roost. After the run, as dawn's light filters through the rising haze, the trainees move to a clearing for balance and agility exercises. One drill involves wearing geta, wooden sandals, and walking across slick river stones or even icy ground. The goal is to achieve perfect waist balance and sure-footed silence. Slipping is not acceptable. Many a morning, our young ninja stands shivering on a frozen pond, gliding step by careful step in his geta, learning how to tread silently on any surface. Each sandal's sole is padded with soft cotton cloth, an innovation to muffle sound. The children learn that every detail, even the padding on their footwear, can mean the difference between life and death on a mission of stealth. While one group practices on the ice, another is learning to climb. The village is surrounded by towering trees and the high wooden walls of compound buildings, perfect for climbing drills. A small boy about your age hugs the rough trunk of an old cedar, gripping it with arms and legs. He ascends swiftly, using not just muscle but technique, perhaps small metal spikes called shuko strapped to his hands. These iron hand claws, with 4 hooked spikes, help him latch onto wood or plaster walls. and double as vicious weapons. In a pinch, a swipe of the palm can rake an enemy's face. Nearby, a girl practices with a rope and kaginawa, grappling hook, casting it over a beam and scaling a storehouse wall. They are supervised by a one-eyed veteran ninja who softly corrects their form. Each student must be able to scale walls swiftly and silently, for a ninja may need to infiltrate a fortified castle or escape over a compound fence in darkness. The bark is rough against the boy's palms. A small shower of dry flakes falls as he climbs, but he moves so nimbly that hardly a leaf stirs. By mid-morning, the trainees are panting and sweat-soaked, but the day's lessons are just beginning. The next phase is martial arts practice. In an open yard, older ninjas spar with wooden swords and spears. Historically, ninjas were expected to be proficient with the standard weapons of the samurai era. The sword, often a shorter blade, suitable for close quarters, the spear, and the bow and arrow. So, our young ninja spends hours drilling sword swings on straw dummies and practicing thrusts with a short spear. The clang of wooden practice swords is one of the louder sounds in this otherwise hushed village, but it's muffled by the dense trees around the training area. The morning sun now filters through the branches, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow on the ground where older ninjas spar. Despite popular imagination, ninjas did not rely on exotic, mysterious martial arts, separate from everyone else's. They often trained in the same fighting techniques common to their time, a blend of what we today call judo, karate, and jiu-jitsu's precursors. Grappling, throws, joint locks, and quick strikes are part of their curriculum. In a sandy ring, two adolescents practice hand-to-hand combat. One swiftly throws the other to the ground, using leverage and timing. They're learning to fight larger opponents by targeting weak points and using momentum. A ninja must be as proficient unarmed as he is armed, their instructor reminds in a low voice. The children bow in acknowledgement, never shouting or cheering. Ninja training is always subtle and disciplined, even when it's combative. By sunrise, these young ninja have already done more than most people do in a day, pushing their limits and learning to endure, quietly laying the foundations of strength and discipline that will carry them through their secret lives. The secret school in the mountains. The ninja villages of Iga and Koga were renowned as the cradles of ninjutsu training. These provinces, nestled in central Japan's rugged mountains, provided the perfect backdrop for a secret school of spies and scouts. Isolated by natural barriers, yet close enough to political centers to gather intelligence, Iga and Koga produced many of Japan's most skilled shinobi, another word for ninja. Let's take a moment to picture the environment. Steep hills blanketed in cedar and bamboo, narrow valleys with trickling streams, and hidden footpaths known only to locals. In such a place, a ninja training camp could exist for years with minimal risk of discovery. A view of the Iga region's rural landscape, surrounded by mountains. In these secluded basins, villages specialized in training ninja could thrive in secret. The remoteness of Iga and Koga helped the ninja clans maintain autonomy and guard their knowledge from outsiders. Even within these villages, absolute secrecy is maintained. Outsiders who wander too close might be politely misdirected away by friendly farmers who are actually lookouts. The villages are organized into extended families and clans. Historically, the Iga and Koga ninja were not a unified army but networks of families, each with its own specialties and closely guarded techniques. A council of elders, or a jonin, literally upper person, might lead the village's operations. Under him were chunin, middle persons, who acted as coordinators or teachers, and genin, lower persons, who were the field agents carrying out missions. Our young trainee, of course, is a genin in training, the very bottom of this pyramid. He addresses every adult in the village with formal respect. There were even marriage alliances binding the Iga and Koga shinobi families into a supportive network. Daily life in the ninja village is a study in contrasts. On one hand, it's communal and cooperative. Families farm rice and vegetables on terraced fields by day. Children do chores, and there is a strong sense of everyone being in on the secret. On the other hand, each household knows only a portion of the clan's secrets. Knowledge is compartmentalized. A father might teach his sons how to mix a particular poison or how to create a smoke bomb, but the formula for another clan's poison might be entirely unknown to them. This way, if anyone is captured or defects, they cannot betray everything. Amidst training, the ninja children also learn basic literacy and arithmetic in the evenings. Intelligence work requires being able to read messages or maps, so they study characters by oil lamp. They might copy down passages from Sun Tzu's Art of War, a Chinese military classic, or from local ninjutsu scrolls. Yes, there are secret scrolls and manuscripts, often written in coded language or guarded metaphors. One famous collection of teachings is the Bansen Shukai, compiled in 1676, which tried to record the accumulated ninja knowledge of Iga and Koga. But even the Bansen Shukai leaves crucial points vague. Important details were never written, only passed orally from master to student. The children listening to the elders' stories in our village might not realize it, but they are inheriting secrets, not through books alone, but through whispered lessons and personal trust. As midday approaches, the village returns to outward normalcy. Perhaps a traveling merchant or a tax collector passes near the village. When that happens, the ninja village must pretend to be an ordinary village. Training weapons are swiftly hidden, and the children switch to playing common games or helping in the kitchen. A stranger would see nothing more than farmers, woodcutters, and their families going about typical chores. This deception is vital. A ninja clan's best defense is that no one knows it exists. The mountains around Iga helped. News from inside these valleys rarely leaked out, and the local people were independent and wary of outsiders. In feudal times, the authority of warlords hardly extended to remote mountainous areas like this, allowing the ninja communities to develop their arts quietly without interference. Within this hidden village, knowledge is passed down like a sacred flame, carefully shielded from the outside world. Every child grows up knowing that secrecy is survival, and that the wisdom of the ninja must remain a whispered legacy, safe in their communal heart. Brewing in the shadows, poisons and potions. Physical prowess alone doesn't make a ninja. Equal emphasis is placed on the knowledge of chemistry and botany, the art of mixing poisons, medicines, and mysterious potions. In a quiet corner of the village one afternoon, a small group of apprentices gathers around an elder woman who is the clan's herb master. Spread before her are bowls of dried plants, roots, and mineral powders. The air is pungent with various smells: bitter mugwort, sharp pepper, earthy ginseng. This is where the ninjas learn to become silent chemists, brewing solutions to incapacitate a foe or to heal an injured comrade. She teaches them first about poisons. The feudal era landscape provides many toxic plants that, if prepared correctly, can be weaponized. One notorious example is aconite, known in Japanese as torikabuto, wolfsbane. The children watch as the herbmaster carefully grinds a dried aconite root and boils it into a thick, dark syrup. This, she notes softly, painted on a blade or arrow, can bring down a man with a mere scratch. In fact, a classic ninja recipe involved boiling wild aconite tubers to extract a viscous, deadly poison. Some legends even claim ninja experimented with exotic toxins like ground fugu, pufferfish organs, or the secretions of poisonous frogs. But such materials were dangerous to handle and harder to obtain, a reminder that the ninjas' preferred tools were often the humble herbs growing in plain sight. The apprentices also learn of hemlock, another plant-based toxin that can paralyze, and datura, a flower whose seeds can induce deep sleep or hallucinations if ingested. Each poison is treated with great respect. The students are warned never to handle these substances carelessly or absent-mindedly. The practical applications are demonstrated with caution. The elder dips a sewing needle in a tiny bit of the aconite syrup and pricks it into a slab of raw meat. As the apprentices observe, the meat around the puncture turns dark, a sign of the potent toxin spreading. She explains that on a human, death would come quietly, muscle paralysis, then the heart slowing to a stop. The children exchange uneasy glances, realizing these are not fantasies, but real, lethal tools. Ninjas would often coat their weapons in such poisons for an extra edge. A scratch from a poison-tipped arrow or a caltrop could incapacitate an enemy more surely than a deeper clean wound. Ninja manuals recommended smearing blades with poison, especially for assassination missions. It ensured that even a glancing cut could be fatal. Some shinobi were said to carry tiny poison darts and a small blowgun, fukiya, to deliver them from hiding. The blowgun, in ninja lore, is a slender bamboo tube, easy to conceal and silent in operation. A quick puff and a dart could hit a target several paces away. Historically, such blowguns might not always deliver a killing dose without precise toxin and close range. They were sometimes used more like shuriken, to distract or wound the enemy from cover. But in the hands of a skilled ninja pharmacologist, a dart tipped in a strong poison could quietly eliminate a sentry without raising an alarm. Just as important as poisons are their opposites, medicines and antidotes. Ninjas often operate far from any friendly help, so they must be their own doctors. The herb master also teaches about healing salves and antidotes. For every poison, there are partial remedies. For instance, she shows them a decoction of ginger and molasses, which, while not a true antidote to aconite, can slow its effects and ease pain, buying time to seek further treatment. They learn to recognize plants like mugwort and ginger root for treating wounds and preventing infection. A paste of ground medicinal herbs is applied to bruises from training. The children sigh with relief as a cool poultice of crushed leaves eases the ache on a kicked shin. Each ninja keeps a small inro, a tiny tiered medicine box, on their belt during missions. Inside might be charcoal tablets to absorb ingested toxins in case the ninja is poisoned, a few vials of antidotes for common poisons, pain-numbing powders, and even tiny rice balls or pieces of dried plums for energy. The apprentices are taught how to make smoke bombs that double as irritants, a mixture of ground chili pepper, dust, and fine ash that can be ignited to create a blinding, coughing cloud. Interestingly, the same mix can be brewed as a crude antiseptic wash for wounds in a pinch. The line between poison and medicine can be thin. In fact, Many substances in a ninja's kit are dual use depending on dosage. Take datura. In a tiny dose, it can lull a person into a drowsy state. Ninjas have slipped, crushed datura seeds into enemy guards' tea to make them nod off. In a larger dose, the same plant becomes deadly, causing delirium or heart failure. The ninja must have precise knowledge and a steady hand to measure out what is needed. This is why the clan's herb master drills them not just in identification, but in preparation. They practice grinding powders, boiling tinctures, straining liquids, and labeling containers meticulously. Mistakes in this trade are unforgiving. One might imagine ninjas cackling as they brew evil potions, but in truth, the scene is more like a quiet classroom. The children sit on their heels, listening earnestly, occasionally repeating a phrase to memorize a plant's properties. Bright purple flower, jagged leaf, datura, causes sleep. The atmosphere is focused and calm. They understand that what they learn here could save their life or ensure a mission's success. Our young trainee gently stirs a pot of melted wax and pine resin over a flame under the herb master's guidance. He's learning to make fire-starting paste, a sticky, flammable goo that can be smeared on arrows or fuses for timed ignition. Next to him, another student uses a feather to dab poison onto the edges of several shuriken laid out on a cloth. They all know these items will be carefully stored and handled. A careless touch or inhalation could be fatal. Through it all, the herbmaster maintains a soothing, informative tone, almost like a grandmother teaching children to cook, except these recipes can be lethal. Before the session ends, each student is quizzed on an antidote. If you cut yourself with a poisoned blade, what do you do? A girl answers, cut the wound to make it bleed. Suck and spit out the blood, then chew Nambu garlic and apply a salted mud poultice. The elder nods. This is one traditional remedy to slow poison spread. Garlic was believed to counter some toxins. It may not be foolproof, but doing something is better than nothing, and believing in the cure helps keep a ninja calm. After this lesson, our apprentice feels a certain empowerment. The realms of nature, plants, minerals, even animal venoms, have opened up as allies in his ninja toolkit. It's a different kind of stealth, working unseen at the chemical level. He carefully packs away a small sample kit he's been given, a tiny paper packet of harmless powder to practice making smoke, a pressed pellet of bean paste mixed with ground fish bone, to drop in an enemy's well and spoil the water, an old sabotage trick, and a little pouch of fragrant herbs to calm nerves. The herb master smiles as she reminds them, knowledge itself is a weapon. Wield it wisely and quietly. With that, the apprentices bow, and the class disperses into the lengthening afternoon shadows. In learning to brew toxins and remedies, the young ninja come to understand that knowledge itself is a weapon, often the most subtle and potent one. The skills they gain around the quiet hearth of the herb master might one day mean the difference between accomplishing a mission bloodlessly or not at all. Enduring the unendurable, physical and mental conditioning. As the late afternoon unfolds, the focus shifts from external skills to tests of endurance and inner fortitude. A ninja's training goes beyond muscle and agility. It delves into enduring hardship, mastering fear, and cultivating a razor-sharp mind. One notable aspect is pain tolerance. Older ninja masters in the village recount how their predecessors could withstand extreme discomfort without flinching. They tell stories of the legendary Fujita Seiko, a 20th century man who claimed to be one of the last Koga ninjas, demonstrating feats like letting people pierce his body with long needles, or even swallowing broken glass without harm. Such tales inspire the young ones as they practice their own endurance tests. In one corner of the yard, a boy holds a deep horse stance, a kind of squat, while balancing heavy stones on his thighs. His legs tremble, but he maintains his posture in stoic silence for minutes on end, eyes closed in meditation. Nearby, another child stands under a frigid waterfall, practicing slow, controlled breathing to ignore the cold. These exercises instill in them the ability to endure hardship with patience, embedded in the very kanji character for Ninja Ren. That character, comprised of the elements for blade over heart, symbolizes steeling one's heart to tolerate even a sword against the chest without fear. The afternoon air is thick and warm. Cicadas hum in the distant trees, but the trainees pay no attention to the heat or the insects, focusing only on mastering their bodies and minds. Mental training is just as crucial. The young ninja are taught heightened awareness and concentration. One game they play develops keen senses. Blindfolded, they must identify approaching villagers by sound or track a faint incense trail through the woods. They also practice memorization and quick calculation. After all, a ninja spy might need to recall the layout of an enemy castle after a single glance, or estimate whether an enemy's rice supply will last through winter. The motto drilled into them is to regard nothing as impossible. There is always a solution if one is clever and observant. They learn to approach problems scientifically and creatively, applying brain power to outwit obstacles. For instance, if a castle wall is too high to climb, could they use a collapsible ladder or find a route through a drainage tunnel? If a guard dog threatens to bark, could a certain hand gesture or hidden whistle keep it calm? Indeed, some ninja techniques, like the Kujikiri finger signs, were believed to have an almost magical effect, such as quieting guard dogs, though likely the ninja simply mastered dog psychology and subtle cues. Speaking of Kujikiri, as dusk nears on our training day, a group of apprentices gathers around a candle in a small shrine. Here, the teacher introduces them to these mysterious finger-knitting signs. The ninja interlace their fingers in complicated patterns while reciting asa, ancient Sanskrit syllables, or Buddhist sutras. This practice has a dual purpose. It steadies the ninja's own nerves by focusing mind and spirit, and it was even thought to cast a kind of spell of confusion on the enemy. Whether or not one believes in the mystical side, the young ninjas find that doing Kujikiri really does calm them in moments of stress. It's a form of meditation, a way to achieve absolute tranquility amid danger. A single incense stick burns, its delicate trail of smoke winding upward and carrying a faint sandalwood scent. The children's faces, lit by the amber glow of a candle, are serene and focused as they weave their fingers into the symbolic patterns. The practice not only restores the ninja's confidence and gives inner strength in moments of desperation, but is also supposed to hypnotize the enemy into inaction or confusion if witnessed. One boy, eyes closed, completes a sequence and breathes out slowly. He feels the earlier strain from horse stance practice melting away as night sets in. Through these trials, they learn that true strength lies not in muscle alone, but in an unyielding spirit, a calm mind that conquers pain, fear, and doubt. Every hardship endured in training is a lesson in resilience that will serve them in the shadows beyond. A moment of calm. The day's rigorous training winds down. Our young ninja trainee, muscles aching but spirit content, takes a moment to sit quietly under the twilight sky. Let's join him in a brief rest. Take a slow breath in and out. Feel the cool evening air easing the heat of the day. In this tranquil pause, the fluttering of your own heart begins to steady. There is peace in simply sitting, just as the ninja finds peace in meditation after exertion. As the first stars appear above, our trainee's mind becomes as clear as the dusk sky. We, too, can breathe in this calm pause. Sunset skills, weapons and tools of the ninja. As the sun begins to set, training shifts to a review of weapons and gadgets, perhaps the most tangible and exciting part of a ninja's education. In popular imagination, ninjas are often depicted with signature tools like throwing stars and straight swords. But in reality, their arsenal was far more diverse and clever. Our young trainee gets to handle many of these specialized tools, learning their names and uses. He first picks up a short, straight sword in a lacquered scabbard. It's often called a ninjato in modern terms, though historically ninjas did not have a single unique sword type. They used whatever blades were available, often short or medium-length swords suitable for tight spaces. Unlike a samurai's elegantly curved katana, a ninja's sword might be a bit shorter and straighter, convenient for indoor fighting or for carrying on the back while climbing walls. It can be drawn quickly and used in cramped quarters. Also, its scabbard isn't just a sheath. It might double as a blowpipe or snorkel in some designs, and the sword's tsuba, hand guard, could be large enough to serve as a step for climbing when jammed into a wall. Every piece of the sword had multiple functions, exemplifying the ninja ethos of practicality. Next, he examines some innocuous-looking bamboo tools. One is a staff as tall as himself, appearing to be a simple walking stick, such as a monk might carry. But as his instructor demonstrates, this staff conceals surprises. With a quick motion, the teacher flicks the staff, and a weighted chain shoots out from one end, wrapping around a post. In a real scenario, this trick could yank a swordsman off balance or entangle a pursuer's legs. From the other end of the staff, the teacher pulls out a small, feathered dart hidden in the hollow core. With a practiced flick, he launches it, striking a wooden target across the yard. The children grin in appreciation, eyes wide. The lesson: never underestimate a helpless traveler's staff. In a ninja's hands, it is both weapon and deception. On a woven mat lies a set of small iron spikes called makibishi, caltrops. They look like tiny, wicked metal jacks. The trainees take turns handling them carefully. These, the teacher explains, are scattered on the ground to hinder pursuers. No matter how a caltrop lands, one of its sharp points will face up, ready to puncture the thin straw sandals common in those days. As a ninja flees, he might toss a handful of makibishi behind him. The pursuing soldiers suddenly find their feet punctured by the unseen spikes, cries of pain ringing out, and the pursuit falters. Ninjas even used caltrops defensively around their own camps at night, in case enemy agents tried to sneak in. Our young ninja learns how to make makibishi too. Sometimes they were carved from tough water, chestnut seeds, an organic caltrop, but often they were iron, crafted by local blacksmiths. An antique makibishi, caltrop, found in Japan, shown next to a measuring tape for scale. Ninjas would scatter these spiked devices on the ground to injure and slow down pursuers. The design ensures one sharp point is always facing up. Another category of small weapons, collectively called tonki, includes various dirks, spikes, and blades for throwing or quick use. The apprentices practice with shuriken, perhaps the most iconic ninja weapon of all. Shuriken came in two main varieties: Hira shuriken, flat, star-shaped throwing blades, and Bo shuriken, straight iron spikes. Contrary to movies, shuriken were not primarily meant for killing. They were usually too small to cause lethal damage reliably. Instead, ninjas used them to distract, injure, or intimidate. A well-aimed shuriken might cut an enemy's face or hand, or thunk into a wall as a warning. And yes, they practiced constantly to throw these accurately and swiftly, until it became second nature. In our village, you would see a row of tree trunks scarred with countless marks from shuriken practice. As twilight falls, the older kids take turns flinging metal stars and spikes into these targets, the weapons whirring faintly in the dusk. Each whooshing throw is followed by the dull thunk of metal biting wood, or occasionally a miss and a whispering curse as the weapon is retrieved for another try. Each star-shaped shuriken is cold iron to the touch, its points prickling the fingers, a reminder that even a small tool can deliver a deadly message. A Bo shuriken, iron-throwing spike, about 15 centimeters long, shown in a person's hand for scale. Ninjas often carried spikes like these hidden in their robe sleeves. With practice, they could throw them rapidly and accurately to distract or wound foes. Our trainee also learns about specialized chain weapons. One is the kusari fundo, a short chain with weights on both ends, easily concealed in a sleeve or sash. With training, it can be flicked out to strike like a whip or entangle an opponent's sword arm. Another is the more complex kusarigama, a chain and sickle weapon used by certain samurai rebels as well. The chain can ensnare a sword or limb, and the small sickle can then deliver a close cut. These weapons require finesse. Swinging a weighted chain without hurting oneself is an art in itself. The children start with ropes before graduating to real chains. Explosives come into play as well. The instructor lights a piece of slow match cord attached to a small clay ball and tosses it a few yards away. With a bright flash and a sharp pop, it ignites, startling some birds from a tree. This was a flash bomb, used to momentarily blind or distract enemies. Ninjas were adept with early gunpowder. They made smoke bombs by filling eggshells or paper packets with special mixtures. A suddenly released cloud of smoke could cover an escape or sow confusion. They also crafted small mines and firecrackers for sabotage and diversion. Until firearms arrived in Japan in the mid-16th century via Portuguese traders, ninja were limited to such fire and smoke devices for shock and awe, but they did develop a sort of primitive bamboo gun that could fire small pellets up to 60 feet. After the Portuguese introduced actual guns, some ninjas even used matchlock pistols when it suited their missions. However, in our era of focus, the Sengoku period, 1500s, guns are rare. A ninja relies more on traditional tools. To compare reality versus myth, ninjas did use throwing stars, spikes, swords, and other weapons, but they didn't have a single ninja arsenal that was completely unique to them. They adapted whatever weapons made sense for the mission, and often modified common tools to serve their needs. Many of their weapons, like the climbing claws or hollow bamboo breathing tubes, underscore that ninjas valued stealth and surprise over brute force. The image of a ninja running around with nunchaku and magic swords is largely a modern fantasy. Historically, a ninja slipping into an enemy castle might have worn the disguise of a monk, carrying that not-so-innocent pilgrim's staff. or a farmer with a hoe that doubles as a spear. And certainly, no real ninja wore a gaudy uniform that screamed, "I am a ninja." In fact, the classic all-black suit is a bit of theatre, literally. It became a trope in Edo period stage plays. Stagehands, dressed in black, to be invisible to the audience, would sometimes participate as ninja characters, thus creating the convention of the black-clad ninja. In reality, an undercover agent wants to blend in, not stand out. A ninja typically donned whatever clothing would best let him pass unnoticed, perhaps the drab clothes of a peasant by night, or the ordinary kimono of a servant during day, or even the armor of an enemy soldier during a raid. So, as our young trainee cleans and puts away the weapons at day's end, he understands a key lesson. These tools are extensions of the ninja's adaptability. One day, he might need to masquerade as a wandering monk, using only a cane and hidden darts to defend himself. Another day, he might be perched in darkness with a bow and a single poison-tipped arrow, awaiting a target. The clan's arsenal is extensive, but choosing the right tool for each job, and sometimes choosing to use no weapon at all, is what truly sets the shinobi apart. For a ninja, victory comes not from superior strength, but from superior ingenuity. Every tool is carefully chosen or crafted for its purpose, and often serves more than one. In this way, the ninja turns the ordinary into the extraordinary, and always keeps an unexpected trick up his sleeve. Cloak and dagger, covert missions, and infiltration tactics. Night has fallen completely now. The village is mostly dark, save for a few hooded lanterns. This is the time when the senior ninja sometimes conduct training missions, mock infiltrations and reconnaissance exercises, to prepare the youngsters for the real thing. Our trainee, though tired from the day, is eager. This is where the real ninja work happens, under the veil of night. One scenario: the elders have set up a target in one of the village storehouses. Perhaps a sack of rice inside represents secret documents to be stolen. The trainees are divided into small teams. One team will guard the warehouse, acting as alert sentries. The other team must try to sneak in and grab the secret without being caught. This is a test of all the stealth techniques they've learned. The infiltrating team slips into the shadows. They synchronize their approach with the natural sounds of the night, moving when the wind whispers through the trees or when a distant wooden chime sounds. Each trainee walks toe to heel, rolling their foot carefully to avoid a crunch on gravel. They remember to press their backs against walls when skirting around a building's perimeter, minimizing their silhouette against any light. The guards, lantern in hand, peer into the darkness but see nothing. One guard thinks he hears a faint scuff and calls out, stepping forward. Instantly, a small clay pellet breaks near his feet, thrown by an intruder. It erupts with a flash of light and a bang, a tiny firecracker. The guard yelps, dazzled for an instant. In that moment, a shadow darts behind him, quietly slipping through the storehouse door that was left slightly ajar. Moments later, when the guards regroup, they find the secret is gone. The exercise ends with muted laughter and the patting of shoulders. Open. Applause is too noisy. Then comes a debrief. What went wrong for the guards? What tricks succeeded for the infiltrators? The elders emphasize creativity. If a frontal approach is too risky, find another way. Perhaps walk in through the front gate, in disguise, rather than climb a wall, they say. This reminds everyone of an old true story. A ninja tasked to assassinate a rival warlord secured work as a humble servant in the warlord's household. gained trust over weeks, and struck when the chance was right. No amount of high walls or armed guards would protect against an enemy already inside, posing as a harmless nobody. Indeed, infiltration by disguise and deception is a core ninja strategy. Ninjas raised espionage to a highly developed art centuries before modern spy agencies. They categorized their tactics into three broad types: tori no jutsu, methods of sneaking into an enemy camp or stronghold. This includes clever entry plans, like getting hired as a servant or craftsman to walk in through the front door, or finding an unguarded route over a wall or under a gate. Chikairi no jutsu, infiltrating active battlefields or enemy territory during war. Ninja, in this role, acted like commandos, ambushing couriers, setting fires in enemy camps, stealing supplies, or spreading false rumors among enemy ranks. Ongyo jutsu, techniques of stealth and escape. These are the famed vanishing acts, using camouflage, deceptive movement, and tricks to hide or flee when missions were done, giving rise to legends of ninjas disappearing like ghosts. The Eiga school of ninjutsu, one of the most celebrated, trained its members in 11 different tori no jutsu tactics just for breaking into enemy camps. They taught ways to win trust or create distractions. For example, one tactic, called shikei no jutsu, emphasized thorough preparation, as in the case of that ninja who spent months as a dedicated servant before making the kill. Another, katsura no jutsu, involved placing sleeper agents or bribed insiders among the enemy's staff. Ninjas even recognized the value of female agents. A kunoichi, female ninja, might become a lady's maid to an enemy noblewoman or a courtesan to an enemy officer, gleaning secrets via gossip or pillow talk, or tempt a guard into indiscretion. In many ways, they were pioneers of psychological manipulation and inside jobs. Once inside a target area, a ninja might engage in sabotage or subversion rather than direct combat. The trainees recall a historical anecdote from the 14th century war chronicle, Taiheki. A particularly skilled shinobi snuck into a shrine precinct at night and set it ablaze, causing chaos in the enemy's ranks. This guerrilla tactic helped turn the tide of battle without a head-on fight. Such accounts underscore the ninja philosophy: to win by outsmarting rather than outfighting. In their training games, our young ninjas similarly learn that sometimes it's more effective to steal an enemy's supplies or quietly spread panic than to engage his soldiers directly. Perhaps the most valued skill they rehearse is escape ongyo jutsu. A ninja who completes a mission must vanish without a trace. This is where legends of invisibility spring from, though of course ninjas were not magical, just extremely adept at not being seen or followed. They practice hiding in all sorts of places, behind piles of firewood, submerged in irrigation ditches, breathing through a reed, or high up in trees blending with the night foliage. In one famous technique, Doten no Jutsu, ninjas hide in or under natural features like the ground or rocks. The children test this by covering themselves with straw and lying in furrows, pretending to be discarded thatch. Another time, they bury two older girls, volunteer ninja relatives, up to their necks in an emptied rice storage pit, cover it with manure and straw, and successfully fool the search party that combs the area. This echoes a real anecdote from Japan's Civil War era. A ninja reportedly hid his mother and wife from enemies by literally burying them in a manure pit up to their both noses. Gross but effective. The enemy never thought to look there. Other escape tricks border on stage magic. The trainees learn to carry pockets of ash or pepper dust to throw into a pursuer's eyes at close range. They are taught how to quickly scale and move across rooftops in darkness, where clumsy samurai in armor cannot follow. Some ninja tools are specifically for escape. Small eggshell bombs that explode with a bright flash, blinding foes, or devices that create a sudden loud noise far from the ninja's actual position, misleading pursuers. One instructor shows how even a small animal can be an ally. He keeps a pet snake in a basket, and in a mock chase, he releases it behind him. The startled guards yelp and hesitate, giving the intruder time to slip away. The lesson: use every advantage and exploit every fear. Through these exercises, the trainees gain a profound understanding that being a ninja is not about brute strength or glory in battle. It's about subtlety, intelligence, and patience. As one village elder always says, the best ninja is the one no one ever knew was there. They are taught that if confronted with overwhelming odds, a ninja's duty is often to flee or hide rather than fight. Living to deliver intelligence is more important than a foolish display of valor. This runs contrary to the samurai code of honor, which prized open, honorable combat. But ninjas serve a different purpose. In fact, the ninjas quietly take pride that they can achieve with a single candle or a clever ruse what an army could not with 1,000 swords. In sum, all the stealth tactics and careful planning boil down to a simple outcome. The ninja accomplishes the mission without ever being detected. It is the purest expression of their art, to defeat an enemy before the enemy even knows to fight. The darkest hours of night become the ninja's ally, and where others rely on armies, the ninja relies on wits and invisibility. A shadow story. You wouldn't last a night. To see how all these ninja skills come together, let us quietly follow a shinobi on an actual mission. It's a moonlit night in feudal Japan. All is still in the castle of a powerful warlord. Torches gutter low on the walls, and most of the garrison sleeps. Our ninja, perhaps the father of our young apprentice, now on a real assignment, has been tasked with retrieving a set of secret plans from this castle. He has spent weeks preparing, observing the castle's routines, bribing a servant for a rough map of the interior, memorizing guard patrol patterns. Now the moment has come. Dressed in the drab brown garb of a humble traveler, he approaches the outer fence at midnight. There's a gap, he noted earlier, where the fence meets a storage shed. Silently, he slips through and presses himself flat against the shed's wooden wall. A guard trudges by just a few feet away, torch in hand. The ninja remains motionless, invisible in plain sight, by virtue of perfect timing and shadow. When the guard rounds a corner, the ninja moves. He crosses an open courtyard with a fluid, low stride, footfalls matching the moments when the night breeze rustles the treetops, masking his sound. At the base of the castle's main keep, he finds cover behind a decorative rock in a small garden. The moonlight is bright, but he stays within the deep shadows of the eaves. Looking up, he sees an upper balcony where a lamp still burns, likely the Lord's study. Scaling the wall requires both physical skill and gadgetry. He uncoils a small grappling hook, kaginawa, with practiced silence and casts it upward. It catches the railing of the balcony without a clank. He tugs it once, then ascends the rope, feet finding purchase on the castle's rough wood wall. In moments, he is perched on the balcony's edge. Through the paper screen door, he hears two voices, the warlord and one of his generals. Speaking in low tones, the ninja sinks into a crouch, heart steady, breath slow. He waits. Soon, the conversation ends. The general takes his leave, sliding the door open and closed as he departs. The warlord inside yawns and steps out onto the balcony for a moment, perhaps to admire the night. Our ninja has already pressed himself into a dark corner, tucked behind a large potted plant. The warlord's gaze sweeps over the garden below. He senses nothing amiss. With a sigh, he returns inside, sliding the screen shut and perhaps retiring to an inner chamber to sleep. The study is now empty and dark. This is the ninja's chance. He eases the door open, just a hand's width, and slips into the study. It's deserted, lit only by faint moonbeams. On a low desk, he sees scrolls tied with ribbons. In near darkness, he calmly unrolls one enough to recognize its contents. These are the battle plans he needs. He takes 2 scrolls, but to delay discovery, he leaves behind a decoy, a roughly similar scroll he carries, containing harmless fake information. In dim light, one scroll looks much like another. He ties it with the same colored cord and places it where the original lay. Such a stratagem might buy time. The warlord may not realize anything was stolen, and even if he opens the scroll, it will mislead him later. As the ninja turns to leave, a soft creak in the hallway freezes him. A servant on late rounds. He silently pinches out the glowing ember of incense in a corner. The sudden absence of the red coal and a wisp of smoke deepen the darkness and might distract a sleepy person. He then slips behind a lacquered room divider, melding into its black wood shadow. A young maid slides open the door, carrying a tray with tea. Perhaps the lord requested a late refreshment. She pauses, sniffing a faint, burnt smell, but sees nothing in the darkness. The ninja presses himself against the wooden frame, utterly still. The maid, puzzled but too tired to investigate, sets down the tea near the doorway, not noticing the door was already slightly ajar, and quietly departs. Crisis averted. Time to exfiltrate. The ninja retraces his steps to the balcony. He secures the stolen scrolls in a hidden pocket inside his jacket, rather than climb down the rope, which might be seen if left hanging by dawn. He chooses a different route, through the castle garden, an outer side gate. From the balcony, he gently lowers himself onto the garden's large cherry tree, whose branches brush the railing. For a moment, he pauses among the upper branches, observing the beautiful simplicity of the scene below. A curved stone path glints faintly in the moonlight, winding between mossy rocks and neatly raked gravel. Pale blossoms from a night-blooming lily tremble in the slight breeze, and the air carries the scent of damp earth and pine from the surrounding woods. All is serene, an exquisite garden dreaming under the moon. And in that stillness, the ninja is but another silent shadow. Like a cat, he descends branch by branch into the garden's depths. Suddenly, footsteps approach, 2 guards beginning a patrol. The ninja presses flat atop a section of the garden wall, blending with its uneven top in the gloom. The guards pass directly below, whispering about a ghost rumor, perhaps started by ninja agents to unnerve them. In their swaying torchlight, they fail to notice the slight shape above them and move on. With practiced ease, the shinobi drops to the ground once the guards turn a corner. Now he must exit the compound. He opts for a technique from his training, create a distraction. From his sleeve, he removes a little paper packet, a tiny flash bomb. He lights its short fuse with a spark of flint and tosses it toward the far side of the courtyard. A sudden crack and burst of light erupt near the stables. startling horses into whinnying and clattering in their stalls, and drawing shouts from alarmed guards. In that brief chaos, our ninja slips out through a side gate, its latch already quietly picked moments before. He set off the bomb. He disappears into the outer darkness. Later, back in the safety of the woods, the ninja will travel miles before dawn to deliver the scrolls to his own lord. Those secret plans may save his clan from an ambush or mislead the enemy entirely. No one in the castle will ever know that a single shadow slipped in and out during the night. They might blame a traitor on the inside, or simply never realize the documents were copied. It was a bloodless victory, the ideal outcome for a ninja mission. The next morning, the warlord will drink his tea, completely unaware that the quiet night was not as uneventful as it seemed. This little story illustrates how a ninja's exhaustive training in patience, stealth, and cleverness comes into play. Every footstep is placed with care, every tool used at just the right time, every psychological trick, like sowing ghostly rumors or leaving a decoy, is employed to ensure the mission is completed without the ninja's presence ever being detected. In the stillness of night, the ninja is a ghost, accomplishing great deeds in silence, then fading away without a trace. A moment of calm. That nocturnal adventure was filled with quiet suspense. Before we continue, let's release any tension it might have left in us. Take another deep breath and sigh it out softly. Notice how even in describing danger, our narrative stayed calm and measured. You are safe here, listening in warmth and comfort. The ninja's stealthy mission ended without violence, and now all is well. Allow yourself to feel the safety of this moment. Pause. Masters of fear, psychological warfare in the shadows. Before we drift off completely into slumber, let's consider another facet of the ninja's art, one that doesn't involve any sword or shuriken. Ninjas were not just physical operators, they were masters of psychological warfare. In many cases, they won battles without fighting, by manipulating perceptions, spreading fear, and eroding the enemy's will to resist. Picture an enemy camp on a moonless night. Soldiers huddle by their fires, edgy because rumors have swirled that ninja demons prowl the darkness. Where did those rumors come from? Likely planted by the ninjas themselves. Perhaps a covert agent whispered terrifying tales in a tea house frequented by the enemy's men, stories of invisible assassins who could kill without a sound, or entire garrisons that went mad after ninja meddling. Such rumors take on a life of their own and unsettle even veteran warriors. Ninjas understood the power of their mystique. They deliberately cultivated an aura of the supernatural around themselves, knowing that if an enemy general feared ninja attacks, he might lose sleep, literally, and make mistakes. If the opponent is jumpy and paranoid, he's half defeated already. In essence, the ninja often let fear do their work for them. Our village storyteller mentioned how Edo period plays portrayed ninjas as sorcerers and goblins. Those exaggerated myths, ironically, played back into how real ninjas operated. If enemy guards believed a ninja could disappear into thin air, they might indeed panic and interpret a clever escape as a ghostly vanishing act. Ninjas were happy to encourage such beliefs. For instance, they sometimes left behind calling cards to enhance their legend. Perhaps a throwing star stuck quivering in a door frame where a guard surely would have been watching, as if to say, "We came and you didn't even see us," or a dagger and note left on an enemy general's pillow while he slept, warning him to cease aggression. Imagine the chilling effect of waking to find such a note. Most would rather double their guard or retreat than face an unseen threat. They also used noisemakers and visual tricks to toy with enemy minds. A ninja squad might set loose a few owls or ravens, which they had captured, and attached small noisemakers to. In the woods near an enemy camp, the sudden flurry of wings and strange rattling sounds would spook the sentries. In other cases, ninjas launched arrows fitted with whistles, producing eerie keening cries as they cut through the air. Coming seemingly from nowhere in the dark, such sounds sowed confusion. Fires were another psychological tool. A ninja might set multiple small blazes on different sides of an enemy encampment simultaneously, making the soldiers think they were under attack by a large force when it was just a few shadows. The heightened alarm could prompt them to flee, or at least spend a sleepless night. Ninjas excelled at disinformation as well. They would dress in the armor or clothing of an enemy clan and commit mischief to stir up mistrust, or slip into a town and spread false news. For example, telling townsfolk that their own lord's army had been defeated elsewhere, inducing panic or loss of morale. During battles, ninja infiltrators might mingle among enemy troops, wearing their uniforms, and shout commands like, "Retreat," or "We're outnumbered," at a critical moment, causing chaos as soldiers broke ranks in confusion or even turned on each other in suspicion. One famous historical case, in the 16th century, when Tokugawa Ieyasu's ally was besieged in a castle, Ieyasu sent Hattori Hanzo's eager ninjas to assist. The ninjas infiltrated the besiegers' camp at night, stealing war banners and setting small fires, then spread rumors among the enemy troops that a massive relief army was about to attack. The enemy, believing a trap was sprung, abandoned the siege in disarray. Not a single open battle occurred, yet the castle was saved, all through mind games orchestrated by unseen ninja. By spreading fear and confusion, ninjas essentially made themselves more powerful than their small numbers. The very mystery surrounding them was weaponized. A lord who heard whispers that ninjas might be about often would delay or cancel plans out of caution. In this way, a few shadows could influence the decisions of mighty armies. In modern terms, we might call this psychological operations. The ninjas simply called it clever strategy. To them, sowing doubt and dread in an enemy was as concrete a victory as slaying his soldiers. Why fight an army if you can spook it into retreating or disbanding on its own? The ninja understood human nature deeply. A foe who is frightened will see foes in every shadow and sometimes defeat himself. In this way, the ninja turned psychology into a battleground. By the time the enemy faced a ninja, he had perhaps already lost. Unnerved by shadows and rumors, the ninja carefully planted. It is a triumph of intellect over might. The enemy's spirit is defeated before any physical battle begins. The invisible burden, secrecy, and loyalty, above all. As the night deepens, training ends, and the children prepare for bed, they gather once more around the old storyteller, a retired ninja himself, for a final lesson of the day. Tonight, by the dim glow of an oil lamp, he chooses a serious topic, the code of secrecy that governs the ninja's life. All the excitement of weapons, practice, and secret missions now gives way to hush and gravity, because this is perhaps the most sacred aspect of being a ninja. He unrolls a small scroll, a copy of an ancient oath taken by their forebears. It is the oath of a ninja named Inosuke Kizu from Iga. sworn about 300 years ago. In a soft monotone, the elder reads out the promises Inosuke made, never to divulge the secrets he had learned, not even to his own children or brothers. He pledged to use his skills only when ordered, never for personal gain or theft, unless on assignment. If he broke the promises even a little, the oath says, he'd be punished by the big and small gods in more than 60 provinces of Japan for generations. Hearing this, the children glance at each other. That sounds like a dire curse. The elder confirms, yes, Inosuke swore that by violating secrecy, not only would he suffer divine punishment, but his descendants would too. This document, he notes, shows how strictly ninjas kept their skills and techniques secret. He explains that in more practical terms, ninja clans had their own harsh enforcement of secrecy. During the era of civil wars, a ninja who betrayed the clan or sold secrets could expect severe punishment. There are accounts that such traitors, if caught, were executed, and sometimes their closest relatives were executed or exiled as well, to wipe out any trace of the leak. The children gulp, realizing how heavy that responsibility is. It dawns on them that being a ninja isn't just a job, it's a fate entwined with one's whole family and village. Everyone's safety depends on everyone's silence and loyalty. The elder's voice drops even lower, so everyone leans in to hear. If a ninja is captured on a mission, he says, what must he do? One older boy raises his hand and solemnly answers, he must not let himself be interrogated. He should take his own life if necessary. The elder nods gravely. While they do not dwell on gruesome details, the point is made. Ninjas were often expected to die rather than talk, to simply disappear without leaving clues about where they came from. Some carried a small dagger or a packet of poison precisely for this purpose, a final resort to protect the clan. It's a sobering thought, presented not to frighten but to impress on them the gravity of their calling. Another rule he recites, even after great success, a ninja must never succumb to pride. They must remain humble, faceless, and forgettable. A ninja's deeds are unsung. Often only a few superiors will ever know what they accomplished. The reward is not fame or riches. It's the pursuit, survival of one's lord or clan, and the personal knowledge of a duty fulfilled. To instill this humility, the clans warned against the three evils: greed, lust, and indulgence in alcohol. Ninjas were admonished to avoid strong drink and carousing, as those could loosen tongues and dull wits. Romance or family life was often out of the question for active operatives. Many ninja remained single or kept their families completely separate from their work to avoid emotional vulnerabilities. It was a lonely road in some ways. One of the older girls quietly ponders this. She had hoped to one day marry, or at least live a more normal life, if peace came. But perhaps that won't be possible. The elder doesn't sugarcoat it. The path of the ninja is one of enduring, as our character shows, enduring hardship and enduring solitude. But, he adds gently, they find camaraderie and belonging within the clan itself. They are a family, bound by something thicker than blood, shared secrets and trust. To lighten the mood slightly, he shares one more snippet from Inosuke Kizu's oath. The oath included a promise that if the ninja discovered any new skills, tools, or firearms, not in the clan's manuals, he would promptly report them to his superiors. This elicits a few smiles. Even centuries ago, ninjas effectively said, if you invent a cool new trick, you must teach it to the clan, not keep it to yourself. It shows that despite all secrecy toward outsiders, Within the ninja community, there was a spirit of collaboration and continuous improvement, albeit tightly controlled from the top. Finally, the elder rolls up the scroll and speaks in a ceremonial tone. Remember, little shadows. A single loose word can destroy entire families. Discretion and secrecy are not just part of your duty, they are the duty. They all bow, taking this solemn truth to heart. If earlier they played at being invisible, now they understand that true invisibility isn't only about hiding from enemies, it's about erasing the very idea of the ninja from the minds of anyone not in their circle. Never boast, never hint, never reveal, not even to one's own kin outside the clan. The children disperse to their homes in thoughtful silence. Our young trainee walks with his father, a seasoned ninja, down the lantern-lit footpath. The father places a hand on his son's shoulder and quietly says, "My father, your grandfather, always told me, a ninja is like the shadow of a bird flying overhead. Here one moment, gone the next, leaving no trace. That's what we strive for." The boy nods, holding his father's words tight in his heart as they step into their dimly lit home. Inside their small house, the boy's mother has kept a bowl of warm vegetable broth waiting. He sips it gratefully in silence, the warmth spreading through his tired limbs. In the dim light, his mother gently checks a bruise on his shoulder, a souvenir from sword practice, and applies a poultice of ground herbs. It stings a little, but he doesn't wince. She smiles proudly, knowing her child is growing strong in body and spirit. They exchange few words. Ninjas even keep their daily struggles quiet at home. But the family bond is evident in these simple, caring gestures. Soon, the boy lays down on his straw mat as his parents quietly slip out, leaving him to rest. His last waking thought is a calm satisfaction. He has gotten through another day of training, and he feels one step closer to the shadowy greatness he aspires to. By living in absolute secrecy, the ninja essentially becomes a phantom. It is a life of sacrifice. No recognition, no glory, only the knowledge that their loyalty and silence protect all they hold dear. For the ninja, secrecy is not merely a rule, but the very shield that keeps their world safe. The unseen legacy, survival through secrecy. Even as the village drifts into sleep, you may wonder, what became of these ninja clans? How did they survive through history, and what trace of them remains? The ninja thrived in the shadows for centuries, and their end, fittingly, came quietly, without a dramatic last stand. As Japan unified and wars ceased, the demand for covert agents dwindled, but the legacy of the ninja did not vanish entirely. In the late 16th century, the ninja's greatest test came when the warlord Oda Nobunaga, wary of the autonomous Iga and Koga clans, invaded their regions with overwhelming force. The 1581 Tensho Iga War. Many shinobi and their families perished. The organized clans were decimated, and yet the ninja arts did not die. Survivors of Iga and Koga slipped away into other domains or were given refuge by sympathetic lords. Notably, Tokugawa Ieyasu, who would soon vie for rule of Japan, sheltered many Iga ninja and valued their service. In 1582, during the turmoil following Oda Nobunaga's death, Hattori Hanzo advised Tokugawa Ieyasu to escape to Mikawa through the Koga and Iga regions. One historical episode shows how ninja secrecy and skill literally changed the course of history. In June 1582, the great warlord Nobunaga was assassinated, plunging Japan into chaos. Tokugawa Ieyasu, then a minor lord, far from his home territory, suddenly found himself in mortal danger, deep in hostile territory. With a small band of retainers, Ieyasu needed to flee hundreds of miles back to safety in Mikawa, modern Aichi Prefecture, without falling into enemy hands. Ieyasu turned to the Iga and Koga ninja for help. Hattori Hanzo, the famed Iga ninja leader in Ieyasu's service, quickly rallied fellow shinobi to guide and protect Ieyasu's party through the mountains. Under Hanzo's counsel, they avoided all the main roads, which were crawling with enemy checkpoints. Instead, the ninja led Ieyasu's group along narrow deer trails, hidden valleys, and even through limestone caverns known only to locals. Legend has it that at one point, enemy samurai were closing in on Ieyasu's trail. As dusk fell, Hanzo sent a few ninja ahead to create diversions. These agents lit torches on a distant hillside and made noises as if an entire company were encamped there. Misled by the ruse, the pursuers veered off toward the phantom camp, giving Ieyasu precious time to slip away in the opposite direction. On another occasion, when hostile scouts lurked near a mountain pass, the ninja arranged for friendly villagers to release oxen down a slope at night, with lanterns tied to their horns. From afar, it looked like an army's lanterns moving. The enemy scouts, spooked by what appeared to be troops advancing in the dark, withdrew for fear of a trap. All the while, Ieyasu's band moved like ghosts through the woods, shepherded by the silent ninja. The journey through Iga was not only dangerous, but eerily beautiful. On one moonless night, Ieyasu's party threaded through a valley where fireflies drifted above rice paddies like falling stars. The path led them over a mountain ridge at dawn, where morning fog pooled in the forests below, hiding the villages in a gauzy veil. More than once, Ieyasu marveled at how the local guides, the ninja, moved with absolute confidence in terrain that all looked the same to him. But to the shinobi, every crag, every stream and ancient cedar tree was a familiar friend marking the way home. After several harrowing days of travel, often moving by night and hiding by day, Ieyasu and his men safely traversed Iga territory into friendly land. This escape is remembered as the Iga Crossing. It was made possible by the ninja's knowledge and subterfuge, and it allowed Ieyasu to survive the power struggle following Nobunaga's death. He would go on to rise to supremacy and eventually become shogun, ruler of a unified Japan. He never forgot the debt he owed the ninja. Once in power, Tokugawa Ieyasu ensured the Iga and Koga clans were rewarded and given official roles as spies, scouts, and guardians for his regime. In Edo, the Tokugawa capital, Iga ninja were employed as castle guards and police, while Koga ninja became part of the shogun's intelligence network, monitoring the lords and the imperial court. This true story shows how, by never being detected, the ninja literally altered the nation's fate. No great battle was fought. In fact, it was the avoidance of battle that was key. The ninja guided Ieyasu through the shadows, and by the time their enemies realized what had happened, the opportunity to capture him was lost. It was a triumph of stealth, deception, and local knowledge over brute force. Generations later, people spoke in awe of how a few shadows spirited Ieyasu to safety. Of course, those shadows were flesh and blood people, the ninja, performing their duty with utmost secrecy. Through the 1600s, in an era of relative peace, ninjas adapted or faded into everyday life. Many became simple townsfolk or took on mundane jobs. A number of former ninja were employed as security guards by the Tokugawa shogunate, even serving as what we might call secret police or intelligence agents, the oniwaban, or garden wardens, to quietly watch over the Saijin realm. Others used their ninjutsu knowledge to become doctors, pharmacists, or martial arts instructors. A few, sadly, turned to banditry, like the rogue Fuma Kotaro or the notorious Ishikawa Goemon, who was caught and executed. But largely, ninjas lived on by blending in, as they always had. No longer needed as shadow warriors, they became ordinary citizens. Their children perhaps learned only fragments of the old arts, or none at all if the family chose to leave that life behind for safety. By the 1700s and 1800s, ninja had become more of a folk memory and a character in popular fiction than an active profession. Yet, interest in the ninja never died out completely. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a few individuals like Fujita Seiko claimed to be inheritors of ninja traditions and demonstrated surprising feats, rekindling curiosity. In the modern era, the ninja have exploded in global popularity, from movies and comic books to cartoons and video games, albeit often in fantastical forms. That widespread fascination has prompted even serious historical study. Today, in Iga, there is an official ninja museum and a dedicated ninja research center at Mi University, opened in 2017, where scholars pore over old scrolls and test out ninja tools to separate fact from myth. Modern enthusiasts like Hatsumi Masaki, born 1931, head of a ninjutsu school, the Bujinkan, have attracted students worldwide and helped frame ninjutsu as a martial art with deep historical roots. Another figure, Kawakami Jinichi, born 1949, heir of a Koga ninja lineage, is often called the last ninja and has worked with universities to document and preserve ninja techniques. Even as the real ninja faded into history, their spirit has quietly persisted in the arts of self-discipline, in countless stories and imaginations, and in the simple truth that patience and subtlety can triumph over might. The unseen influence of the ninja runs like an invisible thread through time, reminding us that not all heroes seek glory in the light. Some work in the shadows for the good of all. Conclusion: the dream of the ninja. In the deep hours of the night, the ninja village is at peace. The rigorous training has ended. Only the soft chorus of crickets and the occasional crackle of a dying ember remain. Our journey through this day in the life has been long and detailed, a gentle immersion in a world hidden behind leaves and darkness. By now, your eyes may be growing heavy, and images of quiet forests and stealthy figures might be drifting through your mind. That's fitting, for the tale of the ninja is indeed like a dream, half history, half myth, moving silently between fact and folklore. We set out to understand why you wouldn't last a day in a Japanese ninja village. As we've seen, the physical demands alone, running vast distances, scaling walls, training from early childhood, would challenge the toughest of us. The mental discipline, to remain calm under pressure, to think creatively on the spot, to endure fear and pain without breaking, is extraordinary. Add to that the weight of secrecy, living every moment under an oath that forbids you from truly sharing your life with outsiders, with the knowledge that a single lapse could doom not just you, but your family. It's no exaggeration that this life was not for everyone. It required a special kind of quiet devotion, a willingness to sacrifice recognition and comfort for the sake of duty. Yet, there is also a serene beauty in this life, as we have told it tonight. There's the camaraderie of a village united in purpose, the deep connection to nature, knowing every sound in the forest, every star in the sky, moving with the rhythms of night and day. There's the intellectual thrill of outsmarting opponents, and the spiritual aspect of the training, the meditations, the philosophy of balance and invisibility. It's a life of simplicity in many ways. A ninja owned little more than his clothes and tools. He might live in a small hut with paper walls, eat simple meals of rice and foraged herbs, and keep to the shadows of society. And perhaps in that simplicity, there was a kind of freedom. As you settle into your pillow now, think of the ninja apprentice standing watch on a rooftop in the dark, the stars reflected in his eyes. He feels the cool breeze and becomes one with the night, patiently vigilant. In the stillness, he is not anxious. He is as calm as the sleeping villagers below. His training has taught him to find rest even while awake, a stillness of mind amid action. In a sense, being a ninja is like a continuous meditation on emptiness and alertness. We have tried to maintain that calm, steady mood throughout this story, so that you too might feel at ease. You have traveled across time to wander an ancient forest, climb castle walls, and listen to the wisdom of ninja elders. You've imagined the clang of training weapons and the hush of secret oaths. All these vivid scenes have unfurled gently, like a scroll painting in your mind. And now the scroll rolls closed, the images fading into the soft darkness of the past. Take a final deep breath and allow your mind to become as still as a midnight garden. Like the ninja who finds strength in silence, you too can find peace in this moment. Your day is done, and now there is nothing more to do but drift into a safe and restful sleep. In your mind's eye, you might wander once more through the quiet ninja village, the training grounds now empty, the huts aglow with faint firelight as everyone settles in. The night is deep and kind. And as the image of that tranquil village slowly fades into the starry darkness, you drift easily into a deep and restful sleep. Good night and sweet dreams.